Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to share a very specific dua. It's mentioned specifically in Sunnah Abi Dawud 5081. And it basically reads, Allah is sufficient for me. How is Allah sufficient for me? I'll tell you right now. So in Arabic, Hasbi Allahu la ilaha illa huwa alayhi tawakkaltu wa huwa rabbul arshil azim. What it means you are saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is sufficient for me. So just imagine, Allah is sufficient for me. I don't need anyone else. I don't need nobody. Allah is enough for me, yes? There is none worthy worship but Him, and I have placed my trust in Him. He is the Lord of the majestic throne. That's what it means. Now, if you were to analyze sentence by sentence, word by word, it means a lot. I mean, you can explain forever, non-stop. So basically, I want you to think and perceive how important that is. Why is it so relevant? Why is Allah is sufficient for me? Why is it not something else is sufficient for you? Why has it got to be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So, what I want you to reflect on the hadith of this Prophet Muhammad. There is none worthy worship but Him. If Allah is sufficient for me, and there is none worthy worship but Him, and I have placed my trust in Him. Why is it that I have to place trust in Him? Why not somebody else? You have to think. It's got to be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He is the Lord of the majestic throne. Now, according to Prophet Muhammad hadith, he said, if you were to recite this in the morning 7 times and in the evening 7 times, and you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anything you wish for, it will be granted. Now I want you guys to practice. Okay, learn a bit more. Go in deep. Dive in, go in details. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There should nothing be sufficient except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you should put your trust in Him. We're going to move on. There's a verse from the Quran, and this verse stated in Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 51. I'm just going to read the translations for you. Nothing shall ever happen to us except what Allah has ordained for us. Just imagine, nothing is going to happen except what Allah has destined, ordained, planned. Okay, so if you have an accident, it's not your fault, it's not somebody else's fault. It's because Allah has already ordained for you. It's got to happen, it's got to happen. So you have to have a firm belief in this. He is our Mawla, Lord, Helper, Protector, whatever you call it. And He is our Mawla. If He isn't, who else is? You might argue, well, He's not our Helper, He's not our Protector. Why is He not? He is your Protector. Nowadays you see bodyguard. Prime Ministers have millions of bodyguards with them for their protection. We don't need none of that. Our protector is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's enough. That's why when you go out, you must read a dua. Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allahi wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Now, this is a very unique. If you read this, you are protected till you come home. And if you don't, just imagine, nobody is going to protect you. So if you want Allah's protection, you must remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and in Allah, let the believers put their trust. So why is it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Let the believers put the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't trust African ministers and whatever you name it. No, we must trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we need to put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what it is basically. And it's very simple. So I'm going to read you another verse, and it's this time Surah Yunus, verse 49. And it reads, I possess not for myself any harm nor benefit except what Allah should will. For every nation is a specified term. When their time has come, then they will not be remain behind an hour, nor will they precede it. So basically, you look at it. An example. No harm will harm you except what Allah has ordained for you. And there is a specific time for every nation, For us, there's a specific time. We already know it. The last hour. It's not going to go back and forth. Time of your death, when it's ordained for you to die, that's it. It's not going to go back and forth. And we should preside and see ourselves. These should be our perception. And it's very important that we reflect on this verse on every single day. According to another hadith of Prophet Muhammad, Prophet used to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times, not just difficult times, healthy times, happy times, at all times. And we likewise should do the same. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times, no matter what time of the day or night or what circumstances you go through. We must be at it, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whilst you're driving, sleeping, whatever you name it. I'm going to read one of the hadiths narrated by Ibn Abbas, who said, when Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was thrown into the fire, he said, Allah alone is sufficient for us, and He is the best of the disposer of affairs. Now, so did the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he was told a great army of the pagans had gathered against him, so fear them. With this warning only increased him and the Muslim in faith, and they said, Allah alone is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs for us. And it's mentioned in Al-Bukhari. Now, we have to take the message from this hadith of Prophet Muhammad. And one of the key importance is that we must put the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without putting our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing's going to work in life. What's going to work is when you put trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you ask Allah's help. You have to be patient. You cannot just wait and just get the help. It doesn't happen. It will happen. You have to have that firm belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What I like to conclude is, as I started off, Hasbi Allahu la ilaha illa huwa alayhi tawakkaltu wa huwa rabbul arshil azim. My message to you brothers and sisters, please make sure you make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala your Mawla, your protector and your helper, and you put sufficient trust in Him, okay? And you believe that none worthy worship but Him, and He is the majestic throne. Believe me or not, you will achieve whatever you want to achieve in life or in Akhirah. So, as I said to you before, according to the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, reciting 7 times according to the hadith, the trouble can't come in the belief in the hadith which says, if anyone says 7 times morning and evening, Allah will be sufficient for him against anything which grieves him, whether he is true or false in repeating them. They believe that in reciting these 7 times, whatever he desires will come true. This is absolutely false. In the Quran, it says, every prayer is answered. Does not mean I accept every prayer from you. In Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 216, Allah, through His infinite wisdom, says, would perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, and Allah knows while you know not. So my conclusion today is, make sure you have sufficient firm belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and take the message very seriously and put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the best thing is the one who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. Thank you for listening very patiently and attentively. I would like you to subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to leave feedback for further improvements.